Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. Just taking a look out over Park City Mountain Resort, and I am joined by our friend Ian Sheldy. He is the Executive Director of Sustainable Startups, and I was privileged to have met you just recently during Sundance. You have a local business here, and welcome to the show, Ian.
Thank you.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so pleased to have you here because this is one of those topics that I think more of us need to know a little bit about, and many folks out there, they do want to know about it, but they don't necessarily have the resources for it. So Ian, Sustainable Startups, how did this get started in the first place? Where did your concept for this come from?
Well, it really came from myself and the other co-founders were working up at the University of Utah in technology commercialization, and we were tasked with kind of looking at entrepreneurship in Salt Lake and looking for the needs and the gaps in the ecosystem. And what we found was there's a real gap in Salt Lake for people with ideas to get started. And if people weren't part of the university system, there wasn't a lot of places for them, consistent places and communities for them to engage with. And so we wanted to provide that. As well as also, there's a big gap in terms of values-driven business and sustainably driven business. And we wanted to help build that mentality and that awareness in Salt Lake as well.
And let's talk about that triple bottom line concept. That's people, planet, profit. This is largely what this panel that you were on, as well as some other local businessmen and such, discussing during Sundance and the film that came out to accompany that. But what is that? People are like, wow, that's a lot going on in one thing. I thought it was just about the bottom line in terms of revenues and such, but there's more to it than that.
Right, yeah, it's something that some people still aren't very familiar with. It's, I guess, a relatively new concept, but it's the idea that every business should have three bottom lines. So everyone usually talks about the financial side, the financial bottom line, but there should also be two other priorities in conjunction with that. The planet side, so how is my business impacting the natural world? And then the people side, how is my business impacting not only my employees, but the community at large, which I interact with. And the reasoning for that is not only an ethical or a moral reasoning, but also because investing in people and investing in the environment really will have long-term financial benefit for your business in most cases.
And let's go more into that. I'm sure there's folks out there, business owners, or even those looking to start a company up front. You're like, wow, this is really involved. This can be really expensive. How can I possibly include these social aspects or environmental aspects? I mean, this is going to break the bank for me. What's in it for me is, I think, many want to know.
Right, right. So, a lot of it depends on your industry and what you're working in, but I would say the first thing we always tell people to do is articulate your personal values, and we believe, if we work with startups, and so we believe if you're starting an idea or a concept, that should really be an extension of yourself. That old tagline, it's not personal, it's business. We don't really believe in that. We believe that business is very personal, and you should really found your business based on your values, and it should be a reflection of that. So as people make decisions, to keep that in mind. And again, sometimes there are higher upfront costs, but they do tend to pay off over time, and even more so, the exciting thing is consumers are getting more and more aware and interested in and holding businesses to account on how is your business impacting your community? How is your business impacting the environment? What is your business really about? What am I buying into here?
So you would say that people are much more aware of this. The consumer wants to know what you're giving back, would you say?
Yeah, I do. And again, there's still a long way to go, but every year it seems to be, the consumers are heading in that direction, which is very exciting.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's talk about the concept of entrepreneurship. What exactly is that, and how does that provide the solution for these problems that people are trying to assist with?
Yeah, so again, we work with early stage entrepreneurs, and to us at Sustainable Startups, entrepreneurship, we view it kind of differently than what you view. A lot of traditional people would say entrepreneurship is. We say it's a mentality. It's a way of problem solving and going out into the world and trying to make an impact. And I think that's very exciting because there are a lot of really big, challenging community problems that I think can be addressed and solved from an entrepreneurial perspective. And Utah, in particular, is very supportive of entrepreneurs, and it has always been very business friendly and entrepreneurial friendly.
Right.
And so the more we can do that, I think the more solutions can be created.
Excellent. And going further with that, this development culture, or rather an entrepreneurship minded culture, how do we develop that? I feel like Utah is the perfect place for this, clearly. I mean, we're listed in like every business magazine and list you can imagine for very positive reasons, but how do we even start further developing that kind of culture, not only within our businesses, but within our communities, to encourage people to be more sustainable?
Yeah, you know, that's a really good question, and that's a problem or an issue we're really trying to solve. You know, and I think a lot of it is we have a youth entrepreneurship program. Mm-hmm. So one of the ways we're trying to do that is developing that entrepreneurial mentality early on. Mm-hmm. And to us, the most exciting thing about entrepreneurship is it changes the perspective from when you encounter a problem in the world. Sometimes that problem is an excuse not to do something. But if you're an entrepreneur or have an entrepreneurial mentality, all of a sudden you see that problem and that no longer becomes a barrier, but that becomes an opportunity to do something exciting.
And let's talk more about that youth program you mentioned.
So yeah, we run a youth entrepreneurship program in partnership with Salt Lake City and their Sorensen Unity Center, and we've been doing it now for about a year. And we wanted to start it because we feel currently in the education system there's not a lot of entrepreneurial education that happens in the middle school and high school level. And really, I think the more we can get kids to take ownership for themselves and make decisions for themselves and really go out and think creatively and think critically about things and go into the world and do real things, it can be really exciting. And I don't think there's enough of that currently. And the more we can get kids doing that early on, the more we can develop some really good community citizens.
Right. And what has been your personal experience in dealing with that demographic, with these kids? Do they have that kind of excitement? Is that something they're like, oh, I can do this? What has been your experience in dealing with these kids thus far?
Yeah, it's been really fun because you know, at the beginning, a lot of them are like, you know, we tell them there's really no rules. I mean, they make all the decisions. We have a couple of boundaries that we set, but otherwise it's up to them.
They must be confused, like, what? There's no rules?
Yeah,
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, they're always looking for us to tell us, you know, what do we do? What do we do? And, you know, at the beginning, I don't know. You tell us what you want to do. And that
probably throws them.
Yeah,
like,
it's really weird for a while, and it's hard for them. But, you know, after a few weeks, they kind of get it, and they're like, wow, okay. I can do this, and I can really go out and do something. I don't need someone telling me what to do or how to do it. You know, I can just do it. And empowering kids that way has been really fun.
Ah, that's incredible. I love hearing things like that. And along those same lines, can you share an experience of maybe a company that you've worked with or folks that have come to you looking for this help, looking for direction, and being able to see where they're going with this newfound knowledge that you're able to provide them with and network at that?
Yeah, so yeah, we've worked with close to 50 entrepreneurs over the past year, and from, you know, all different industries and backgrounds. And probably one of the most exciting was a young man that came to us who was really into vinyl printing and kind of stickers and banners and things, and he wanted to start a business around that. And so we worked with him and got him going, and he started a really successful business. And we also got him, you know, thinking about the true bottom line, and he started recycling his scrap vinyl, giving it to community art projects. A lot of his printing was solar powered for a while. And then, you know, he went, just recently now, it's really exciting. His business was going great, you know, but he decided, you know what, it's not what I wanted to do anymore. And so he sold it. He sold it, and what he's doing now is he's actually going to bike around the world.
What?
And yeah, because
that's kind of a switch.
Yeah, it's a huge switch. And to me, that's that's what entrepreneurship is all about. It's about really discovering yourself and what you want to do with your life. And so now he's going to bike around the world and chronicle his journey and the different people he meets and the interactions and the stories that he discovers. He's going to write about it, and to me, that's the epitome of what entrepreneurship is.
That is incredible.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Wow. I mean, literally, you're seeing people's lives just do like a 180, or in some situations, just them really find their purpose or what they want to do. That must be so rewarding. I would think, working with so many people that are doing things like that. Yeah,
it is. It is. I mean, we take a very broad view of entrepreneurship because, again, it's a mentality. So if someone was, for example, trying to create a policy-oriented nonprofit, you know, a lot of people wouldn't think, you know, that's entrepreneurship. Absolutely it is. It's about going out and trying to solve a problem, and through a certain framework and mentality, and we teach that. And to us, people doing that, for-profit, nonprofit, you know, business policy, it's all entrepreneurship.
Let's move this solving problems idea to that of social justice issues. What are the social justice implications for some sustainable business practices, or are there any, rather?
Yeah, you know, I think there can be, and that's currently a big problem that I've been thinking a lot about. Is you know, a lot of time, and people know, like Whole Foods, for example, you know, Patagonia, these companies that are very triple bottom line oriented, their products are expensive, and a certain demographic is priced out potentially of engaging with these companies, and I think that is a real problem. I am hopeful, though, however, that that will change as these companies get more and more of the market share. Those prices will drop and become more accessible. But you know, also I think it is they're battling with a consumer mentality in this country where, you know, we need a lot of stuff. I mean, our society tells us we need a lot of stuff, and so, for example, a Patagonia jacket would cost in the hundreds of dollars. However, that jacket is going to last you 20 years if you do it right, because it's very well made, it's responsibly made. But when society tells you you need, you know, 18 jackets or whatever, that price point becomes...
You can't wear the same one twice in a row,
no,
right?
That's right.
You cannot do that.
Nope. Yeah.
But so, it's that concept that you think, oh, I need to get, it's about things having more than one, but indeed that's not the case.
Yeah, so these companies it is difficult when people are told to buy a lot when you have high price items. But again, I think all the trends are going in the right direction, and I think we'll see that problem getting solved here in the future.
That's heartening to hear from someone who's right in the middle of all of it and seeing all these things go on. So folks out there starting a business or know someone that could utilize your services, how do they go about doing that and even applying for that process and getting in touch with you, Ian?
Yeah, so we have our website, sustainablestartups.org, and you can go on there, and there's a form you can fill out if you're interested in membership. So again, it's really for people who, if you have an idea, you want to really start impacting where you live and change your community, you know, we're here to help. So please let us know.
Very good. Ian, thank you so much. A pleasure to have you here this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
I've learned a lot more, and you guys certainly seem to be quite busy. So we were talking about this is a pretty busy time of year for you guys as you move into the new year and such. So good luck moving forward, and thank you for the work that you're doing here in Utah.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Ian Schelde, the Executive Director and Co-founder of Sustainable Startups. Be sure to check them out online for more information and find out what they are up to. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we get back, we have much more to share with you. Don't go away.